looks like, and the control room, feel free to chime into my ear, correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly. That is Luigi Mangione. He has just been loaded into the back of this police SUV, and he is now being driven off out of that courthouse in Pennsylvania. That is just happening now. It is happening as you're watching it. The suspect in the murder of Brian Thompson, the healthcare CEO at United Healthcare, that is Luigi Mangione right now in the back of that police SUV, presumably on his way back to New York, as he has just waived his right to, I guess, protesting extradition. And he is now going to be extradited to the state of New York. And so you're watching that unfold as we speak. Danny Freeman, if you're still there, Danny, what can you tell us? What are you seeing?
Yeah, Jim, I'll just say that you can see on your screens right now, this is the New York plates, black SUV. We just saw Luigi Mangione get into the back seat, and you can see with the help of some local officials, including Pennsylvania State Police, they are taking Luigi Mangione away from the courthouse, presumably to be now on his way to New York. I gotta say, I'm pretty stunned that this happened as quickly as it did. I mean, it was only a few moments ago, Jim, that we were inside of that courthouse, and that extradition waiver was officially signed by the judge, by Luigi, by his attorney, and approved by the DA's office as well. And again, only a matter of minutes, less than a half hour after that, there he was getting into that black SUV with New York plates on his way, presumably, back to New York to face these much more serious murder charges that we've been talking about for the better part of the past couple of days or so. And I'll just tell you, I mean, this is an alley that is not used to this much media presence. You can see the roads have been closed off, but there are also, you can see down the street, Jim, there are people who are just there to watch this process play out. Ordinary people watching Luigi Mangione be extradited back to New York.
Yeah, and Danny, you were watching all of this while I was talking to Shimon a few moments ago. Did he have any kind of an outburst as he was coming out of the courthouse like we saw the other day, or this was pretty much getting into the back of that SUV and off he went?
No, amazingly, Jim, as you saw, it was basically as we did. It was quiet, it was without fanfare, and it was very, very different, as you noted, from that outburst the other day. And that really has been a lot of what we've seen over the course of the past morning during this court appearance is a calmness.
All right, very good. I think we might have just lost your audio there, Danny. But in the meantime, Danny and Shimon, thank you very much. Again, you're looking at video right now from moments ago. That is Luigi Mangione, the suspect in the murder of Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO. He is being loaded into the back of this police SUV. This just happened several minutes ago in Pennsylvania. And as Danny was just saying a few moments ago, not the same kind of scene that we saw, what was it, about a week ago when he was having that outburst almost in the same exact spot when he was taken into custody. So a very different scene. Luigi Mangione now heading back to New York to face charges for that murder of Brian Thompson.
The man accused of murdering the CEO of United Healthcare is being extradited to New York. A short time ago, Luigi Mangione appeared before a judge in a Pennsylvania court. He faces charges in Pennsylvania and New York. He waived his right to a preliminary hearing and agreed not to fight extradition to New York. The Manhattan District Attorney has charged Mangione with first-degree murder over the killing of Brian Thompson.
We have a voir process in place. I have faith in our jury system to select 12 people who can be fair and impartial, but we'll move forward, and that's something well down the road, but we'll be ready when that time comes.
And joining us now from Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania is CNN's Danny Freeman. So Danny, what's the latest now?
Well, the latest now is Mangione is already on his way out of Pennsylvania, heading to New York to face down those intense murder charges that we've been talking about so much for the past 48 hours. But I got to tell you, Rahel, being inside of that courtroom and in and around Hollidaysburg for the past couple of days, if it weren't for the massive amounts of media, the massive amounts of law enforcement, and of course Luigi Mangione himself being inside that courtroom, frankly, what we saw earlier was a pretty normal proceeding. We saw that first proceeding on the issue of his preliminary hearing for those Pennsylvania charges. Those were the lesser ones when it comes to those 2 felony charges, one being a gun charge, and then 3 misdemeanors. His attorney got up there and said, listen, at this point, we're going to waive this preliminary hearing. We feel that we've gotten enough discovery at this point to proceed forward with that. And Luigi said, yes, I understand, when the judge asked in that case if he understood that he was waiving that particular right to a preliminary hearing. That was pushed down the line. Then we waited for about an hour inside of that courtroom because the attorney for Mangione, also the DA, and the judge, they were all conferring in judges' chambers really to bang out the language on this waiver of extradition. And it was interesting, Rahel, because during the course of that hour, Luigi Mangione was sitting by himself at the defendant's table, and we really got a chance to look at him, observe him as he was sitting there waiting. And I'll note that I was here in the same courthouse last week for his first court appearance, only a couple hours after he was caught in that Altoona McDonald's. Then he seemed frazzled, Rahel. He seemed uncomfortable in that moment. Today, and well, then of course I should note, then there was that outburst in front of court the following day. Today, though, Rahel, he seemed calm. At times he was smiling. At times he was chatting with the sheriff's deputies who were guarding him. So it was interesting to have that hour to just see what he was doing during the course of a moment where no one was really attending to him or focusing on him specifically. Then the judge, all the attorneys came back for that second extradition hearing. The judge, again, asked, do you understand that you're waiving extradition? Do you understand that you're basically giving up that right in this particular case? His attorney turned to Mangione and said, do you understand? Is this what you want to do? And Luigi Mangione said yes. And then, Rahel, we all exited the courtroom. I headed out back to the spot where we assumed the basically handoff would happen to NYPD. We thought it might take a little while, but really it was just a matter of minutes after court was over. We saw Luigi Mangione go into a car with New York plates driven by NYPD officers, and off he was. That was as simple as it was. And that was the conclusion of this Pennsylvania chapter, for now at least, of the story of Luigi Mangione, Rahel.
No, it's a great point. I mean, it may be the conclusion of the Pennsylvania story, but it's just the beginning of the New York story. So what happens once he gets to New York?
Well, that's the interesting part, Rahel. So as far as we know at the moment, Luigi Mangione is in the air, flying back to New York. And we understand, according to Bryn Gingras and Kara Scannell, that his first stop is actually going to be federal court later today to potentially face new charges, federal charges, in addition to that 11-count grand jury handed down indictment that was announced earlier this week. So that's likely what we're going to see first, him appear at the federal courthouse down in downtown Manhattan. So, yeah, the New York proceedings are about to get underway, and you can bet they're going to get a lot more complicated. The one thing I'll note, Rahel, is that the attorney representing Luigi Mangione in the courthouse behind me was always, throughout all of this, Tom Dickey, his Pennsylvania attorney. That's the gentleman that we've seen on our air for the past few weeks. But now we know that he is going to be really handed off to the New York defense attorney that he has retained, basically, that we learned over the past few days. And then she is going to be handling the case moving forward. And you can tell that there's a lot of work cut out, not only because DA Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, is saying that they're moving forward with this 11-count indictment that was handed down by the grand jury, but now also new challenges potentially with a federal indictment coming as well. Rahel?
Danny Freeman, thank you.